and welcome back to another Yellowjackets recap and review here on Infamous Virus. Season 2, Episode 8, It Chooses. Despite the winter's never gonna end thing, the 1996 New Jersey State Girls Soccer Championships decide to start their spring training early with an impromptu cardio session. Callie encounters an old flame, Van proves goalies never say die, most of the adults intentionally commune in the sharing shack, and Lottie baby, I hear the Blues are calling for tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Mercy. We're one episode away from the finale. I don't know if anyone else is as scared as I am, but I'm quite scared for the finale. I'm very nervous to see what happens because a lot of shit went down in this episode. This was a stressful episode. I had to film a reaction at one point because I was so just like, I was like, who the fuck is gonna pull this card? But we'll get to that when we get to that. So right off the bat, Lottie just looks like shit. As we know, Shauna kicked the shit out of her in the last episode so that she would stop taking it out on the other Yellowjackets. She's also pissing blood. Saw Shauna give her some good kicks to the kidneys, so probably some sort of kidney infection, which isn't great. I don't think that's something that's treatable without medication, especially out in the wilderness. That just let me know that this episode was going like balls to the wall from the get-go. We see that Mari's not doing so great either. She drops the bloody piss bowl and is crying on the stairs, and she gets a vision later in the episode. We see Akila talking to Nugget, and I was sort of like, the end for Nugget is probably near. I think this mouse can only stay alive so much longer, and I was right, because it turns out Akila has just been hanging out with a dead mouse carcass for a while now, I think. I don't think Nugget made it very long, because obviously, if there's nothing for the Yellowjackets to eat, there's definitely not enough for a wilderness Tamagotchi to eat. So yeah, just no one is doing well. Everyone's like starving and laying on the floor, and then like cue the theme song, I guess, because that's where we're at in the wilderness right now. Just everyone is dying. So in the adult timeline, Shauna goes to tell everyone that Adam Martin's body has been found, and they kind of lie to Lottie and Van, and it's like, you guys have been through a lot of shit together. I mean, obviously you don't want to have more accomplices and have people know about a crime you did if they don't need to know, and they like tried to cover their tracks in front of Lottie and Van as much as they could, but obviously that didn't really work. And I knew as soon as Lottie was like, let's go to the sharing shack, I knew shit was gonna go down. The sharing shack sounds like a crazy fucking place, and I was right. So we see Ty in the wilderness look up into the glass window and see evil Ty. I don't know if it was just a hallucination from like hunger deprivation or whatever. I think Sleepwalking Ty is gonna make an appearance next episode, and I don't know if it's going to be a good one. I don't know if it's going to lead them to a new spot or something. I don't think it's going to end well. So Van gives Mari a belt that she found in Jackie's luggage, and they boil it with water to try and get some protein from it. Yeah, I mean, I hope it was a real leather belt. When they first showed the belt, I thought they were going to like cut the belt up and eat it, which would have been a little wild. I mean, obviously they're doing all they can out there, and there's no food because it's winter, but like, I genuinely thought they were gonna cut the belt up and like eat it. They didn't, they just cooked it in the soup. So I don't know, I hope that seemed to have given them enough nutrition to chase Natalie through the woods later in the episode, so I guess belt soup worked. So we see Natalie and Ben talking about how maybe Lottie dying isn't such a bad thing, and I didn't know if they meant in a way where everyone would stop being a little delusional about like her sort of cult thing she's got going on out there, or if it meant that if she died, they could eat her, because everyone's pretty hungry. So it wouldn't put it past me if they were just looking for the next person to kick the bucket to eat. So Mari gets like a vision or like a hallucination or something, and all this blood starts running down the walls of the cabin, which is very Evil Dead, which is like very on brand and crossing over like my two favorite things, like this show and Evil Dead. So I'm very happy that that happened. However, it was just a hallucination. Jumping back to the adult timeline, the police have arrived at the Sadecki residence, and I'm honestly surprised they let Sarakusa do the investigation. Like, I feel like Callie's little lie about them sleeping together, I thought that maybe would have kept him away from the investigation till we investigate this kind of thing. Urgency? Not urgency. I don't know what word I'm looking for. But anyways, I thought since there would be technically a conflict of interest there, that he wouldn't be allowed to continue to work on the investigation where he might have slept with a suspect, but he did, and I hate him. And of course, he's the one that searches Callie's room, which is just weird, and she was very smart to film him and just make her little comments like, oh, like, if you go up 2 more drawers, like, that's my underwear drawer. Go through my underwear, weirdo. And then just her comments again about how, like, who a court of law would believe about this, like a teenage girl or, like, a grown man. Which is, like, shitty because that's false accusations, but also, I guess where the cop is also kind of a morally corrupt person, it's not so bad because he's already bad to begin with. So they start showing Jeff all of the pictures of Adam's body and stuff, and I was so worried that seeing that was gonna totally break him. And I honestly thought he was going to fess up to it, to take the fall for Shauna, but he didn't. We do find out during this little scene that they used a cheese grater to remove Adam's tattoos. If you've seen any marketing for the new Evil Dead movie, cheese graters are a big thing, so I was once again very happy as an Evil Dead fan to have a little cheese grater reference in this. I know it's not like, obviously cheese graters were a thing before Evil Dead Rise came out, but I was just very happy because I love seeing it used as a weapon in horror content. I think it's so unique, and I'm really glad that, again, another favorite piece of media of mine is sort of tying to another. I really enjoy that. I was really happy to finally get some focus on teen Natalie this episode. I feel like she's sort of been pushed to the side a bit, obviously to make room for, like, Shauna's, like, birth and stuff, and Misty's whole crystal thing and stuff like that. It was nice that she made up with Travis and stuff, and him telling her that she's a good person was a really nice thing. 2, I was just glad to see more of her because Sophie Thatcher is such an amazing actress and plays this character so well. So I'm so glad that teen Natalie is getting some screen time again. So we see Ben upgrading his crutches. He says to make them a little more snowproof, and then he sneaks out in the dead of the night. And I was like, oh my god, like he's gonna sneak out and go kill himself. But no, he sneaks out and tries to find the tree where Javi was hanging out and living in those months when he was missing in the wilderness, which was cool to see. I hope we get to sort of explore that more in the finale. Maybe find out who was his friend, who is she that was keeping him alive. We also get the return of the terrible fucking fake-ass snow. This is so mean to say, but I honestly cannot wait for this season in the season to be over because I'm really tired of the fake snow. I know, I feel so bad complaining about this show, but I really, really hope that when they do, probably season 4 will be our next winter-based season. I really hope that they upgrade the snow to make it look and act a little bit more like real snow. So the adult Yellowjackets are hashing it out, and Misty calls Walter her boyfriend, which I absolutely loved. I love that she went from, like, kicking him to the curb completely and making him drive off, and now she's like, my boyfriend. My boyfriend Walter. Which I just love. I can't wait to see their reunion in the next episode. I hope nothing bad happens to either of them. I really cannot wait to see that. There was a nice little callback to the postcards. Obviously, sort of that was discussed, but we haven't really heard about them since season 1, so I'm glad that they finally mentioned them a little bit, because I don't know if they said that Lottie and Van got the postcards, but anyways, it was nice to have a little callback to that and sort of clear the air on that situation. So we finally get to see Walter again in this episode, actually. He's in his huge fucking mansion listening to the Cat soundtrack with, like, a cat as his desktop background, doing a cat puzzle, which is very much me. If you follow me on any social media, you know how much I love my 2 little perfect tuxedo cats. So obviously I'm a big fan of all this cat-themed stuff in this episode. I was also a little bit worried that when Walter was sending the email to the police department that he was just going to throw Misty under the bus. And maybe he was going to. I mean, we see him take a purple jacket and obviously ends up in the wellness center of Lottie's. So we'll see where that goes. I really thought he was going to throw Misty under the bus as, like, revenge for, like, ditching him on their little journey together. So there was a scene in the theme song, or just sort of like a clip or whatever, of a Sadecki family portrait, and there's blood all over Callie. So people thought that it was like hinting that, you know, Callie was gonna die, and then we saw in the trailer that Shauna with a knife doing that, and so a lot of people thought that Shauna was gonna kill Callie or something. But as soon as the scene started, I could tell it was a nightmare, because, like, Shauna was just not, like, acting as herself, really. It was really well done, though, and obviously that's a realistic nightmare that someone in this scenario would have after hearing all that stuff about your wife. I thought it was fucked up that when she cut him, it, like, peeled his skin right back, because obviously Shauna was sort of the butcher out in the wilderness, so she would know sort of how to do that. I thought Melanie Linsky with the knife hands was hilarious, but also, like, I was gonna say maybe a little serious, but it was definitely more played for laughs than for scares, Warren Cole, who plays Jeff, really acted his ass off in this episode. I feel like there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunities for him to really get like a full scene as Jeff. Usually he's playing off of Shauna, but I feel like we got a lot of solo scenes from him this episode, which is nice because he does a really good job of the character. We get a scene later where Jeff finds Callie up drinking a beer in the middle of the night, and she asks him sort of like, am I like mom? And instead of thinking immediately about the bad stuff that obviously Callie knows about Shauna now, Jeff saying like, oh, like you're smart and you're like this and you're just like your mom, but only saying like the good things. I thought that was really sweet. And obviously that's the way he sees Shauna. Like, even though she's done these really fucked up things, he still only sees her for like, I guess, the good person she is and not so much the bad things. I thought the scene where Jeff tells Callie about the wilderness baby was just so like heartbreaking, and just like the no music the whole time. So just like sitting with that in that scene, and just like the shock from Callie, and sort of like, I really thought that there was a chance that maybe Shauna didn't tell Jeff about the wilderness baby, because there was a scene a couple episodes ago where he says we only have one kid. I had assumed, hearing that maybe he didn't know. I really wish that if we do get sort of like a post-rescue season, maybe in season 5, I would really like to see that scene of Shauna telling Jeff about the wilderness baby. I mean, obviously it would be completely different actors. It would be like Sophie Nélès, and then the actor that plays young Jeff, I can't remember his name. He was like only in the first episode. But yeah, I think that would be like a cool, sad scene to see. So I'm really hoping we get some post-rescue scenes like that. Then we see Walter take the purple jacket, obviously to go find Misty. I was screaming internally. I can't wait to see them reunite. I hope nothing bad happens. I feel like something bad is going to happen for the two of them though, so I'm not looking forward to that. So the Yellowjackets are sort of all complaining in the cabin about how they have nothing to eat, and Ty is sort of like, I have an idea, like we're not gonna die out here, like I have a way that we can get food. I was like, what is Ty's new meal plan? What is her meal plan for the soccer team? Like, where are they gonna be getting their protein gains from? What macro micros are they gonna be getting from their nutrients? Obviously, we know sort of what the deal is gonna be by the end of the episode. But before we find that out, we get a lovely dish session from the adult Yellowjackets. I love seeing them all interact with each other because they all play off of each other so well. And this was such like a crazy scene because there's so many emotions. Like, Shauna's trying to defend herself and also like clear the air with everyone, and everyone's mad at each other, and like Van and Lottie are like lost on some things because they weren't a part of that sort of core group from season 1. So there's a whole lot of shit going down. And to add to that tension, we get the card pull thing, where whoever gets the queen gets killed. I watched a little bit of this, and I was like, I have no fucking idea who they're gonna do. So I recorded a little reaction to that. I'm at the card scene, and I feel like I need to tape my reaction to who's gonna pull the queen. Travis just pulled his. I'm like shaking. Oh my god.
It's okay. It's okay, we're okay.
Oh my god, who's gonna pull the queen? Oh no, is it Nat? Oh my god, it was Nat. What are they gonna do? Turn around. What the fuck are they doing? Oh my god. The necklace. my god. No, they're not gonna do it.
You're gonna have to look me in the eye.
Someone else is gonna have to jump in. Oh my god. Okay. Travis intervened. The card scene just went crazy. It was so stressful, and I just didn't know what was gonna happen. And then we jump back to the adult timeline, and Lottie basically wants someone to sacrifice themselves to the wilderness as an adult. And I thought she was pouring this tea, and I was like, oh, it must be shroom tea. Like, this must be like Doom coming 2. Like, they're gonna find someone to sacrifice. But no, it was like suicide tea. Basically, one of the cups were poisoned, and I really thought this was gonna be sort of the moment where Van tells everyone that she has cancer and was gonna maybe take the fall for it, but sort of as we know, it has to be like completely random and sort of up to the wilderness who dies. And then Lottie was sort of talking everyone into killing themselves, or like attempting to kill themselves with the tea, which was weird. Back in the wilderness, Ben finds the moss tree that Javi was under. I was really surprised he didn't die on his way there, because obviously he's on crutches in the snow, and I'm surprised he knew where he was going. I mean, very lucky that Natalie has that whole map system worked out. I cannot believe that that is a real place, and I hope we sort of get to see what goes on there in the finale. So everyone is chasing after Natalie, and it's incredibly tense, and I did not write notes because I was so focused in on it, but then Javi tells her he'll take her somewhere safe, and I was like, oh my god, he's speaking to Natalie, like he trusts Natalie, and they start going towards the moss tree, and then the ice cracks, and Javi falls in the ice, and starts drowning because it's freezing cold water and there's nothing to grab onto because it's all ice around him, and Natalie's trying to save him and no one else comes to help, and Misty comes over and tries to stop Natalie from helping, and then Javi fucking drowns, and they're like, well, the wilderness chose its sacrifice, like, well, I guess we don't have to kill Natalie now, Javi's dead, we're little goofy and silly girls, and we just killed Travis's brother for fun. We could have saved him. I'm disappointed in the messy teenage girls. I'm very disappointed in them. Obviously, like, Travis spent those months looking for Javi every single day and got him back and stuff, and like, I don't know, it's like his little brother, and they just let him die, and they're gonna eat him now, and I don't think that's gonna go over well with Travis. I feel like some shit's gonna go down in the next episode. I don't know if this will impact his sort of relationship with Natalie at all, because obviously we've seen them sort of make up this episode, but maybe where she was trying to save Javi. I'm not disappointed in the episode, I'm disappointed in the characters for their actions. Like, oh my god, that's like a low, but also they're like starving, so they're probably not thinking correctly or whatever. But anyways, this was a roller coaster of an episode. I'm scared and excited for the finale. I can't wait to see how they wrap this all up, and if they leave us on a cliffhanger for season 3, or sort of what we think season 3 is going to entail. Obviously, it's going to be delayed a little bit because of the writer's strike going on right now, but ultimately, you want the writers to be paid a living wage and be able to make money from streaming services or whatever, so maybe it's for the better. Can't wait for the finale of season 2. It's going to be crazy and wild, and then I'm going to have to find a new show to talk about here on for Fridays. That was Yellowjackets season 2, episode 8. Let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay groovy.